Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Embrace Her and Thrive. Dr. Kat here. I'm going to offer you some information that I hope is very helpful and useful. Happy Monday. If you're here on a Monday, I'm here on a Monday. If you're any other day, happy that day as well. I hope you're having a great week and that things are going very good for you. If not, I hope that you are living, learning, and loving. I have some water here. We'll parch today, so don't mind that. All right, so today we're going to go over overcoming fear and resistance. And generally, when I'm talking about fear and resistance, I'm looking up fear and resistance in response to thriving and growing into a new version of you. Now, fear and resistance can show up in any way, okay? It can show up when you're doing something that you already know how to do. It can show up when you're doing something that you don't know how to do. And it can show up when you are exploring something and you're not really sure how you feel about it or where you want to go with it, but you do know that it's foreign enough and it's not comfortable enough for you to move forward. So in that transitional space, which is where I sit a lot personally and with the clients that I serve. All right. So overcoming fear and resistance is going to be what we are exploring and talking about today. All right. So generally I do things in 5s and 10s, okay? I feel like if you give it a number, it's easier for people to latch onto and really write it down or look into it, and it keeps it nice and clean so that you can see what we're talking about. All right, so I'm going to go from 1 to 10, and we're going to go through what fear and resistance looks like. So a lot of people think that fear means you're like shivering and afraid and backing down, or you're like running. That's not always the case. The mind has a billion ways to keep you in a state of survival and fear. All right. Now, if you haven't seen previous videos, I talk about that in previous ones as far as like amygdala and parts of the brain and how fear has to be ingrained and looped into our lives like velvet in order for it to work properly. The amygdala is not a bad guy. It's supposed to keep you feeling safe. It just doesn't know that it's getting in your way. So let's look at some of the ways that your amygdala likes to talk to you and whisper sweet nothings. All right. The first one is a fear of success. That one can happen to anyone. And I can tell you in this journey that I've been going on and just bringing that coaching that I offer to the world, it has been there. And I've been being a psychologist and all that stuff for years. So I'm already doing something that I'm afraid to do in a different context. We all have it. We all have fear. Fear of success means that you have to grow into a person that can actually manage your blessings, manage all this new stuff. But the trick is, and I'm going to talk about it later with another one, you don't got to do it all alone. I did not know that that was an option. But once you figure it out, you learn how to work through it. But a lot of that has to do with take your time. Look at how you've already overcome and worked through to a new level of success. Most of the times you've already been there and done that and you just didn't notice. All right, the next one is self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is a very popular term in social media. It has been for years. And typically I rewire that with people. Self-sabotage can come up in a lot of ways. I'll tell you the rewire in a minute. Self-sabotage can come up as procrastination, indecision, abandoning goals when you first start them or at the last minute. And it is one of the things that will get in the way of thriving because you'll feel like you're yo-yoing back and forth, trying to get to the new space, popping back to the old, trying to get to the new space. And then over time, people just start to feel like maybe it's just not for me. One of the ways that I rewire that for people is to consider it like a warm blanket that you go back to. What your mind is going to try and do, sometimes people even fear their spirit, is it'll bring you to where you were already comfortable to give you a break and rest from all the change. It's like a snuggly place for you to land in. Sometimes it is uncomfortable because, it's an uncomfortable space that you were trying to get away from, but it's still more familiar to the mind and body than the new place. So what you'll do is you'll slide back, but you can never be the same person. So even when you're in the old space, most people can feel that they're no longer who they used to be. So while you did slide back in your skills or in your schedule, you never slide back as a person because you cannot undo growth. Even if you're learning a similar lesson repeatedly, you're still changing into a new person, which is always forward. So it's kind of like this funny place, but just know that even backsliding and self-sabotage is not true self-sabotage. It's a way that we soothe so we can keep moving forward. Okay? Just some perspective. All right. The next one is overwhelm. Overwhelm can lead to feelings of feeling paralyzed, emotionally exhausted, and just physically exhausted. And you just don't want to move forward. You don't want to bother. Okay? Overwhelm is one of the ways that you know that you need more help. It's one of the ways that you know your pace needs to be a little bit slower and it will still get done. I promise you, it always gets done. Going from spending 10 plates to 15 plates to 20 plates, you're going to feel the newness of it all. So take your time and don't just focus on doing it right. Focus on feeling wellness when you do it as often as you can. A lot of times that's a pacing issue and a breathing issue. We got to take breaths. We got to just stay in our body, take a beat, and notice when you need to bring that overwhelm down. All right? The next one is people pleasing. This one happens quite a bit if you've done many things right in life, or if you've gotten a lot of messages that you should not be making other people upset. It usually happens in the first 5 to 7 years of life. All right? People pleasing is usually our inner kid, but it can even be something you learn in adulthood. And it's a fear of disappointing people. And that feeling can be powerful. Disappointing someone and then trying to digest it when you don't know where to go. And they don't come back and tell you, you know what? I'm not disappointed anymore. You got to work that out. And then it happens again, a lot of times with the same people, because they need to learn who this new person you're becoming is and why she is starting to say no. I'm telling you from experience, that people pleasing will get you every time, right in the heart, right in the heart. But just know that people do adapt, or you find new people that can come with you. So you got to give people a choice on whether they're going to come with you. All right. The next one is doubting your worth. Now, I'll tell you, there is no degree, no number of years in a skill set, no speciality that is going to help you circumvent that one. If you are doing something that is going toward personal growth and it's an area that you have not become comfortable with yet, you may experience doubting your worth. And a lot of times that can look like imposter syndrome. It can look like negative talk in your mind about maybe you really don't know. Maybe you don't have the skills. Maybe you'll just, consider something else because that's not really your wheelhouse. And I'll tell you from experience, I still even consider that and think about that when people ask me to do talks on something I do every day for 8 hours. It's not really about your worth. It's about you believing in a worth you were born with, a worth you already had. Now, am I going to go and try and do piano lessons and be like, all right, I believe in my high self-worth, so I got this? No, I am still a beginner piano player, even though I am just great at doing emotional attunement. Sometimes you got to know it's not about the self-worth, it's about your inner dialogue, or it's about building up that skill set, okay? But a lot of times it has nothing to do with you feeling ready, and I'll tell you that from experience. Feeling ready has nothing to do with self-worth, okay? Next is attachment to past struggles, okay? While your story and your testimony have power, there is a certain way that you can tell it that helps it to empower others and help you heal through it. Living in it and reliving it and reliving it, only connecting with people in trauma and pain does not promote overcoming fear and resistance to that change. You have to really process every time you give your testimony. People need to know they're not the only one, but you also need to know that you are growing through any past struggles, that it has come to be for your good, or you have gotten something out of the deal. Okay. But when we feel we've had struggles, we will tell ourselves because of what we've been through, we shouldn't have, we shouldn't do, we shouldn't be. And that's just not true. You can be, do, or have anything. It's just a matter of you taking small steps and knowing that where you've been, you don't got to look like it, and you don't have to be that. Okay. All right. The next one is chronic busyness. This one is really popular among the girls because you get those little dopamine hits and you're like, oh, I'm moving in life. I'm moving. No, you're not always moving. Sometimes you're just getting stuff done, but you're not really getting that stuff done. To be getting these things done, like I could clean up this room probably 3 times and I could be like, yeah, you did that, Katrina. But to just get things done, but not be making movement on those things that really matter, you know the difference. You can feel it. You can feel when I was writing that book, but I got like half a page. Okay, that's a half a page, but how long has it been since you picked it back up? Right? It's not even for you to criticize yourself. It's for you to notice the difference between busyness and really moving on those things that you're afraid of, noticing that gentle resistance. There's always something to do. I'll answer the question for you. There's always something to do. Is there ever going to be a time where there's nothing to do? There's always something to do. Always. Okay. You are built to be busy if you've been busy. You will always find something to do. But that book chapter, those cards to help people and children or humanity or whatever you want to create, that painting, that project that you were working on that's going to change lives and really help you, even if it changes one life, you got to find the time to do it. Okay. Busyness is not going to get you there. Emotional numbing is the next one. This one is where we just tell ourselves we're not bothered. I'm not uncomfortable. I shoved it down far enough to where it doesn't get to me. But you notice deep down, you know if you're living out your dream, even if it's in small steps, you can feel it. And it's real. That gap between who you are today and who you're so excited to grow into, you're going to feel her every day somewhere in the dark back there. She's going to keep talking to you. And she's going to keep trying to help you find her. Okay? So take small steps. Let those feelings come out. Write them down. Talk to someone that loves you, someone that cares about you. Or even just talk to your God if you believe in God. Talk to the universe if you don't. Talk to nature. Just get the stuff out in little bits. Don't lock yourself up. The world needs to see your color. All right. Next is fear of losing relationships. Okay. It's number 9 if you're counting. Fear of losing relationships is one that I see a lot in practice. And it can be friends, it can be family, it can be your partner, it can even be pets. I've seen that too. Fear of losing relationships is one of the things that hurts women's hearts so much because you just want to love and be loved. But a lot of times, people who've known you since you were young, they can't see the new you that you're becoming. That doesn't mean you need to get rid of them. They help give you a benchmark for how much you've grown. And a lot of times they'll cheer you on the best they can. But there are so many new and amazing people who will see the person that you're becoming and be a part of your tribe growing up. So then you end up with abundance of people in your life. It's just making room for relationships to be contract short-term, long-term, having your old partner transition into a friend and meeting a new partner when you're ready. Take your time. Do it in a way that feels like it resonates with you, even if it's scary. Letting go and learning how to have flow. Think of it. We're made of water. There's so much air and earth around us. Everything is meant to move. If you're not moving with it, you're going to feel stuck. So sometimes we got to take our heart, it breaks apart, and we got to slowly heal it and put it back together. But we at least know we have an authentic relationship with self. Have a relationship with you and everything else will work itself out. Finally, number 10. Number 10 It's difficulty accepting help. For my high performing anxious women, I love you all. I've been one of you all. I am one of you all on some days, on the rough days. We gotta accept help. Have to. It's a wonderful book by Benjamin Hardy called Who, Not How. If you know some great book recommendations, go ahead and put them down. Put them down below so that people can see it, okay? Your professional tribe needs to grow with you so that you can delegate and let people know. Now, I'll tell you that I didn't know, something I didn't know is when you are bringing someone onto your tribe, yes, you do have to teach them how to do what they need to do. Sometimes they're so good, you don't have to teach them much though. But if you are in the beginning stages, yeah, you got to let them know what you want, and it teaches you communication. It's just like any other relationship. But once they get a groove going, it's smooth, it's nice, it's good, and it works. Takes it all off your plate and gives you that little energy bundle back. You want to take that energy back and just reallocate it to something that you want to do. You know, going to do something that's for you, to love on you, okay? Or to put it into something that's creative. But looking at who versus how will keep the stress low, all right? So I hope that this is helpful to you. I hope that this fed your mind and your spirit. And I hope that it offered you some perspective on the fact that there is nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not unloved. You're not unworthy. You are worthy. You are lovable. And you can have anything if you just take your time and you release these fears and resistances and you continue to find the person that's underneath that's scared but wants to meet you. Dr. Kat here with Embrace Her and Thrive. We love you. We're always sending hugs. And we're going to sign off. Bye-bye.